let's say Google how to make money online, and they get a course, and the course creator is selling a course, then usually these people are like, okay, now I don't know what niche to pick. So if this guy is doing this, like I should probably do that, right? So then they do, like how to then they create their own thing, which is like how to do a course by teaching other people how to sell a course by becoming a course creator yourself. And then it becomes
So
like a whole.
coaches, coaching coaches, and it's like so. Hey Rohan, welcome to Bangalore.
Thank you, man. Pleasure being here. And
Yes,
thank you so much for hosting me.
yes, absolute pleasure. I think this is the first time we are doing a podcast like this with professional lighting, camera, and everything. And
Yeah.
this might be one of the very first podcast in a long series of podcasts, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's commendable to see how much work goes into it. So, like, hats off to everyone who pulls this off.
Yes, yes. So Rohan, let's talk about the evolution of coaching industry in India. I think you have come a long way in your training, coaching, agency journey. We have been doing a lot in the past 5 years in our own way. Our approach differs. So let's just talk about what approach is the best, what works best based on our experiences. And I think the audience will have a lot to gain from understanding the best practices that are working right now. So I think I would like to start the conversation from talking about low ticket products and high ticket products. So that's what is happening in the coaching industry right now. And the way I see it, a lot of things are evolving into high ticket. But when you are selling a high ticket product, then it's not the traditional way that you sell. You can't just upload a course on Udemy and expect the sales to come in. So I think we can start the conversation there. And you specifically have always been focused and just love high ticket more, and you have shown the results as well. So let's start the conversation from you sharing your insights on why you never got attracted to, let's say, a 5,000 rupee course or a 10,000 rupee course, and you went straight for the high ticket. So how was that journey?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, I wouldn't say that I never got attracted towards it, because back when I started out, it was with selling Udemy courses. In fact, if you still go, you can see my profile, it's still live. But, and people say that there's this debate that there's like one option, like you just either go low ticket or you just go high ticket. I don't think that there's just like one side. It depends upon the situation. Now if we go back a little bit and try to understand the context behind why somebody would want to charge less for their services or advice that they are offering, primarily it narrows down to one of the reasons being that they are not confident that they will be able to deliver the value that demands from charging such a premium amount to somebody. And the debate is that, if you go out and start charging a lesser price, right, what's going to end up happening is you probably could launch a low ticket course, or for 500 rupee workshop or whatever it is. The idea is that you will be able to build that credibility, you'll be able to learn the market and everything, and that will eventually allow you to charge high ticket. So that's primarily one of the reasons why a lot of people do that. It's because of lack of confidence. But my argument is that, since I've been through that path, there's a better way to go about doing this. So what happens is, if you're just going to launch like a 500 or 5,000 rupee course or something, and you don't have experience and you are trying to learn, and what's going to happen is, like, people will buy that and then they'll look at it and they'll be like, man, I don't like the experience, or the product isn't like outstanding. So as a result, you are kind of like losing your own credibility in the marketplace by introducing something which, you know, it's just not worth it. Instead, like, the pathway that I would recommend to anybody, if like you're just starting out, or even if you're like at your early stages, or even if you're a successful business owner, if the only reason or one of the reasons is that you want to build your credibility or your confidence to go out there, um, rather than just like charging creating a bogus course based on your whatever little experience, and just like charging 500 or 5,000 bucks, why not just go out there, even work for free or whatever, and like work on your skills, upgrade yourself and become better at it. You can start off at, let's say, like low, and but like make sure that you like really dive deep into helping the client, right, rather than just like creating a course out of it and just expecting people to buy. right? Like one example I could provide you is like one of my clients. He's like a young little lad, right? 18 years old or something like that. And he started like a drop shipping store, and he made like $3,000 with it, which is like pretty good. You're doing
I
well.
can see where this is going.
And then he made like, he spent $4,000 on it. So basically, he was negative. And then he reaches out to us and he's like, "Oh, I think I should now launch a course teaching other people how to start an e-commerce store." Like, no, that's not the right way. Perhaps that didn't work out for you, or you're still lacking confidence or whatever. Go out, take that skill, work with clients, work with other e-commerce stores, practice that skill, become really good at it, and then eventually work towards the pathway of charging high ticket rather than you just offering like, something that people would not appreciate, because that won't be good for you in the long term, I believe.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that because okay, we have been Didi and I talk a lot about like flipping the funnel. Like normally people do that low ticket entry, then upsell to the high ticket. So what doesn't make sense is at the end of the day we are selling solutions,
Exactly.
and the logic I would kind of correct you here is like the logic is people come and taste the product in the low ticket funnel and they upsell to the high ticket, but most of the time people when they start with that level one of like the low ticket thing, they don't know what the market is.
Exactly.
I would say go high ticket, learn about the market as deep as you want, then create the lower level probably when you feel like okay, TAM is getting, I'm hitting like a cap in the business and I need a entry point where people just know me, branding ho raha hai, and they trust me, come back to my system of high ticket thing. So as a scaling strategy, not as an initiation strategy, right? Didi, ideas?
Yeah, so one thing that I have to add when it comes to low ticket and high ticket is that the argument that low ticket, when you are launching a product, let's say you are creating a course and it's a 2 hour course, there are 10 modules in it, and you sell it for like 5,000 rupees, whether you are selling 1 unit, 100 units, 1,000 units, or even a million units, it's just delivered and people have to just go through it and they have already paid for it. So a lot of people think that a low ticket is much more scalable. And when you go to a high ticket product, there is an element of service involved in it. You can't just give information and then forget about the customer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you go high ticket, the lines kind of get blurred and you start getting into the freelancing slash agency side. So now we have coaching, we have courses, then we have freelancing, we have agency where you are providing a service. So these lines seems to be a little bit blurred. So how would you differentiate between, let's say, high ticket consulting or high ticket agency or freelancing services versus high ticket information or training product?
See, I think at the end of the day, like these are all buzzwords, right? Eventually, like what you're doing is you're trading value. You're trading your advice, and basically, if one human being meets another human being, right? Then the exchange between both of them is like some sort of value that will benefit hopefully the other party if you do a good enough job, right? Now the way that can be transferred, right, your advice or service, it could be, you could actually do the work for them. Like for example, how you had an agency, I had an agency as well, where I used to literally go out and do the work for the clients, right? Now if I wouldn't have like just gone out and gotten my hands dirty in like really understanding, okay, how exactly this works, how do I go about building a funnel, how do you go about launching an ad, and instead I would have just like launched a program, because of course what exactly it is, it's like pre-recorded videos of like information which has worked in the past that you're trying to share with other people so that they could replicate it, right? It's basically a model that it's like you trying to scale your business without you not being there. For example, right now we are doing this video right now, okay? So technically this information, if we were to go out there, we could like let's say talk to one person, they could hire us and we could consult them, and then but the problem is that won't reach enough masses, right? So but if we do a video like this, how we are like shooting, and if we upload it to YouTube, right, there's an opportunity that more and more people can find this information and actually benefit from it, right? So similarly, that's what a course is supposed to do. But if right now, let's say you bring me and like I have like no experience regarding what I'm talking, or you like make me, for example, talk about, I don't know, a subject that I probably do not know, geology, for example, or whatever, right? I'd be like, bro, I don't know, right? So then this becomes useless, right? So instead, right, if the path that I recommend is like just go about doing the thing, right, getting your hands dirty, learning the craft, learning and understanding how exactly it's done, and it doesn't matter what price you charge at that point, high ticket, low ticket, forget about it. If you're just starting out, just go out and learn the process, and that's exactly what you also did. Like if you were telling me your story yesterday, like you went out, you practiced the skill, you launched so many affiliate blogs, you did blogging yourself, you did build an email list yourself, so it was like you getting experience, right? And similarly, when I was doing my agency work, I was getting experience by running my own ads, running ads for other people. And then once this concept is something that I was able to master, right, I was able to then maybe get into like coaching. I thought like, hey, if I keep doing the work for everyone, it's gonna like take time. I'll have to probably like hire a lot of employees. So you know what? Rather than like me doing that, let me just like invite some people to like a person to the call. I started with one-on-one coaching. Then I went on and I did group coaching. I thought, okay, if one person can benefit, what if I like put five people in a room? They'll benefit it, and then eventually turn it into an online program. And honestly, every person that I know, at least who's successful, like you look at Byju's, right? I know there could be mixed opinion regarding that over there, but the point is, like, see, on paper at least, like it appears to be a successful company. So he also did the same thing. He started by like teaching tuitions to his one-on-one to his friends, learned the skill, applied it for himself. Obviously, first got good grades, then did one-on-one tutoring, then did group coaching classes. Then I remember he even booked a stadium and started doing that. And once that was exhausted, and he said that there's no other way to reach out more people, the best way is to launch the app, which is in turn a course itself, right? So that's the path that I see that probably people should follow. Otherwise, like what you're teaching in the programs or in the record videos, like probably most people won't gain the same amount of benefit if you don't have that experience to share with.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So let's say a person comes out, into the industry. He starts searching for, hey, how do I make money online? That's where most of the people start searching, and some of these people already have some experience and some industry knowledge, and yes, they can build a business around it, consulting, coaching, training, whatever you call it. But there are people who don't have that experience as well, and then they come into the market and they sometimes get misguided by certain online gurus. So you will that there is this whole advice of fake it till you make it, and they just put themselves out there, claim to be an expert in something, and just without having any clear understanding of the customer's problems, challenges, and not focusing on client results, they are just focused on themselves, and they just try to go ahead and create a course, put it out there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and let's say it works for like 1% of the people, and that gets like kind of blown up, and that is being shown as testimonials. So a lot of people in the industry who are like taking people down that path. And then there are people who will say that no, don't start with a course, like you first gain experience, go ahead and build out a certain level of client results, so that you work closely with the clients, high ticket, less number of people. But for people to start at that level, to start charging high ticket, what do you think are the skills that they need, and how do they identify a niche? Okay, this is the market opportunity, and how do they build confidence in themselves that hey, this is what I can do for them, and what is the mindset shift that they need to have to start becoming client focused? Because the motivation to start doing this is obviously to create wealth for yourself, but it needs to shift back to the client. And what is the mental framework that is involved in trying to go down that path, which I feel, based on our discussions, is the right path to go? You go with less number of people, high ticket, but how do they get into it? People feel like stuck.
Yeah. So see, I'll answer your second question first, which is like, how do you go about selecting a niche, right? I think I was telling you this earlier as well. Since like most people who Google like how to make money online, unfortunately they do not have a lot of prior experience, because of which they, like, by experience I mean they haven't done like a lot of jobs, or they do not have any kind of specific industrial experience. So what happens is, if let's say Google how to make money online, and they get a course, and the course creator is selling a course, then usually these people are like, okay, now I don't know what niche to pick. So if this guy is doing this, like I should probably do that, right? So then they do, like how to then they create their own thing, which is like how to do a course by teaching other people how to sell a course by becoming a course creator yourself, and then it becomes
So
like a
coaches,
whole.
coaching, coaches, coaching, coaches. So it's like
See, you know what? I feel like this should be like, I keep telling it in my channel as well, where like, I'm a big believer of doing that, getting that one client, because even your story, I mean, we'll get back to that. So, isn't it the best way? Ki, okay, you go ahead and work for that one client, even if there is no scale, but goddamn, learn the things so well and give them so results that you can, that one client brings in three more clients.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I'm like being very honest. I didn't know, like, I didn't have a lot of industrial experience. My first job was in this marketing space only, which was in the high ticket space, right? And like, so I decided, okay, like, I'm gonna do that as well. But I decided that, okay, what's going to be my moat? Because I can't have like this thing going on in America, right? Like a lot of people were doing that. So I decided to pick India specifically, and of course that comes down to other reasons as well. For example, I saw that there's a lot of opportunity. I saw that there was a lot of racism against Indians. So I thought, like, of course, there's like a lot of market potential, and I do want everybody in this country to go out there and be able to demand the premium price for the value that they can actually offer. Um, Especially if you're like, if you look at like, if you look at any country, right? Like, what's our number one advantage? I was telling Jayant before, like, a number one advantage is that we have population, right? But then population is also with China, right? So then what else is our second advantage? The second advantage is that we can communicate in English, like how we are doing right now, and we have the ability to communicate with the rest of the world. So rather than just making India and launching campaigns, make in India, please don't sue me. But like, focusing on just manufacturing, you can also think that there are talented individuals gully gully mein, like there's somebody, like, who knows some stuff, right? And if they can just go out and monetize their skill by finding people and like just working with them. And to answer the question which you were saying, at the start, when you're just like beginning, forget about low ticket, high ticket business model, because you don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Right, you know nothing, you don't know where this is going to go, what's going to happen. So what I did is, like I was telling you yesterday, when I got my initial clients, one of like my first, when I started uability, like, the third client or somebody, um like, people would be like, oh, but you've paid me only 5,000 rupees or this much rupees, I won't give you more attention, like this is all you get in my deliverables. I'm like, it didn't matter to me. So I was there helping that person on WhatsApp. I was in UK, he was in India, and I was like just communicating with, do this, do this. So what happened is, like, I was so obsessed about just making sure that this person or these group of individuals get results. Like, that guy was called me on WhatsApp, WhatsApp call. It was like 8 p.m. in India, and he's like driving in his Activa, and he sees this billboard of this company that's like running ads. So he's like, hey, can I pitch them digital marketing? Like, yeah, of course, do that. Like, take their number, just just call them, and let's just go. And then he did that, and he went to his home, to their place. And like, I was messaging him that, hey, say this to the guard, try doing this, use this script, say this to the receptionist, do not say anything to the receptionist, because she won't be the decision maker, so it won't matter what you say, just try to get the decision maker there. And bro, like, in what, 1 hour or 2 hours of his meeting, he ended up closing that client. And that individual went from that Activa to having a Varna, and like, having his mother shift to a very decent house in what span of 3 to 4 months. And that's when I was like, man, I'm like probably on to something, because that time I didn't care, like, oh, how's this gonna
The
scale.
process is replicable across people, because earlier it was proven for you,
Yeah.
replicating across people.
Yeah, that's another thing, just because you did it for yourself, like what we were discussing yesterday as well, that, just because you've done something doesn't mean you'll be a great teacher. So I wanted to make sure that, what my product is, it's just not, oh, just because Rowan did it, so it's like a great product, like just go put my face on it. That's why, probably the reason why a lot of these course creators have short term progress. So I decided, hey, I'm just gonna sit down with this person and with these people, and like, do that. And like, back, like, from those initial batches, like, I have like people like Pulkit, like, I still have his application. He was making 50,000 a month. last interview I did, he closed 9 lakhs a month. He's doing that much. So that's what I believe in. Just like focus on helping people gain the skill, and then eventually keep heading towards the direction of charging more and more.
Yeah. Because ultimately, you are selling solutions.
Oh, and by the way, I didn't launch a course teaching people like, oh, just do this. I was like hands-on course, video, PDF, whatever the hell you need. Like, I'm just gonna give you results. That's the outcome you're paying me for. Yeah,
So that's all right. You are ultimately selling a solution,
exactly.
and it can come through a done for you system, done with you system, or do it yourself system, or combo of some sort of combo of each and
Yeah,
everything.
whatever. But just get the person results, man. And then think about how do I replicate this? Like,
Yeah,
what else
exactly.
can I do?
That is so true what you said, and I also think that it comes down to the matter of laziness. That this whole idea of hey, online business karo, then you will create passive income and then you can keep traveling the world.
Yeah, 4 hour work week.
Yeah, 4 hour work week. So when people have this option, hey, I can get a few clients, really be obsessed about their results, work hard to get results for them, and then I can figure out how to scale this. So instead of starting the approach from there, people are like, hey, can I just create some intellectual property, put it out there, and it'll keep selling. And that, yes. So yeah, get rich immediately schemes. So,
Yeah.
so that way, I think the lack of the initiative to put in that work, because come on, if you are like starting out as a consultant or freelancer, as you said, anyway, they are buzzwords, or a coach, you have to think about, hey, can I help this client, customer get results? And people don't do that. And when they start out with, let's say, low ticket products, the idea is that, hey, it'll automatically scale. But what they put in those products actually doesn't work because they have never interacted with those customers personally. And they are just trying to put out some content out there, which is mostly rehashed from other sources of content. And they can't, like, preach what they practice because there is no practice there. They are just preaching. And if you practice what you preach and then preach what you practice, then I think that is the way to go.
I mean, would you rather learn from a guy who has run an agency and is running an agency on digital marketing, or would you rather learn from a guy who does digital marketing in selling his own courses?
Yeah. So that is one of the main reasons that we do have a digital marketing training company. But we were very specific that we can't stop running the agency, because while running the agency, we have different clients from different industries. We are doing digital marketing for them. And then I can go and teach that, hey, this is how I did it. And I did digital marketing for different companies when I was working with them as a digital marketing manager, did it as agencies, and it's a lot of work. And I can go and just do digital marketing training and do nothing else. But the only digital marketing that I will be doing is digitally marketing my own digital marketing. And unfortunately, I think industry may we do have quite a few people like, hey, I will teach you how to sell a high ticket product, and the only high ticket product they sell is a course on how to sell a high ticket product. And then, hey, I will teach you business, and like, what is your business?
And
My
that
business
course
is
is selling for 5,000 bucks.
Dude, I'm not kidding. I just saw an ad. I will not name the guy, but it was exactly about selling high ticket. It was being sold at 299 rupees.
See, I don't, again, just by like watching somebody watching this video, like the goal is not to offend, but like it's, I kind of like sympathize because I've been in this situation as well myself. Because like when I was starting out, it's so much information is there, and I'm not gonna deny like I had this intention as well, make money online fast, right? And then like, oh, let's take this information, make a course out of that and everything. But then I realized over time from experience, right, that can work in the short term. But then until I didn't face this harsh reality that you have to sit down with your customers and actually make this shit good, and then um excuse my French, but yeah, if you don't do that, like it's not no point, and it's going to be short term success. And I think, I mean, whatever little that I've done, in I think the last 3 years have just been around this one or two products and just focusing on this exact avatar and just doing it every single day compounded for 3 years. And that is why I'm seeing like this, or having the option to be able to even do this podcast or whatever. So yeah, and I think if I just like keep repeating that and keep just do
Do
more
more
of
of
it.
it.
Yeah, like how Alex Hormozy says, like just do more of the boring work, right? Just like keep repeating the actions. I think it's what's going to you know
So how
grow
did
you.
you figure out? I mean, we have already discussed, but let's keep it out for the audience. How did you figure out? Oh, fuck! Like, excuse it. Like, this is a new opportunity. What was your story there?
Like online marketing in general.
No, no. How did you come up with the idea that hey, I should start charging high because that's the only way. Everything else is dying.
Yeah, so it happened like if I think I'll need to provide like a little bit context, like how I got into this marketing field. So I was telling the story to you only yesterday. Um, so like when I was like 13, 14, like I started like a YouTube channel, right? And I just started like, a lot of people don't know this, but like back in the days, to unlock an iPhone, you had to like do something called as jailbreaking, right? So that was like, if you had an AT&T SIM card in US, you can bring it to India and put like a Vodafone SIM card and start using it, because it was just locked to that SIM card. So I started making tutorials on like how do you go about doing that. And surprisingly, in 2000, what, like 6 or 7, I became like the 25th most ranked tech YouTuber in India. It was like, okay, this works. Recording with my shitty webcam, but people were watching it because there was like demand, and YouTube was new, and it's like SEO was great, right? So but then what happened is, like in school, I went back and people started bullying me, my friends, that hey, you're a YouTuber, like yeah, what's this, child. So that kind of discouraged me, because that time being a YouTuber wasn't cool, right? So I deleted all my videos and everything. Then slowly, gradually, I stumbled upon other things which I told you, like I started making apps. I would contact like developers in US, just like find them on Twitter and be like, hey guys, can you please help me with this code? And they're like, this 14-year-old, 15-year-old Indian kid is messaging me. And surprisingly, they were very, very helpful, and they helped me build two of my apps, which I put in the store, got 50, 60,000 downloads each. So that's how I got my first income started out. At that age. And then the next thing that happened is, like, I joined an institute, like my parents told me, now I should like focus on studying a lot, because 12th grade and Indian parents and everything. So they used to take my internet sometimes, because it's not their fault. They were like, if this is like
मेरा बाप तो पिटता था तेरा इंटरनेट ही बंद होता था
internet taking away is like equivalent to getting beaten up for me, because I'm like, my whole identity is gone, man. So
यही तो करता था मैं
yeah, but then I was doing like side projects, like I used to make games, music, and stuff. But then I joined this digital marketing institute, which a very popular one in Delhi itself, and went there. And rather than like paying a lot of attention to the things, I started like making my own website, which I told you, like it was a scoop poop version of college students, right? Basically. So it was going fine. I was getting a few views here and there, but then I decided, one day I'll write an article. And the article was called "Top 50 Party Colleges in India." And then I just like told, I hired some interns from Internshala. I was in first year of college, and like I'm a boss. And I'll give you all certifications. But I didn't know what I was doing. But I told them all to like just post on social media, and like I was sitting in class one day, and I get call from HostGator, which was my web hosting company. They're like, Rohan, I saw like your website is about to crash if you don't upgrade your plan. I'm like, what? Like, they're like, your bandwidth has exceeded. I'm like, what, with 500 views? What? And I look at my Google Analytics and like see 50,000 views in a single day, man. And I was like, whoa, this
ये
is
भी हो सकता
crazy.
है
Yeah, so this gives you like the push and the encouragement. So just to put some context, I was doing it myself, right? I learned that. And then what I did next is I started like I didn't know how to monetize all this, because it was just an idea and vision, and during that time I was learning Facebook ads and everything. But I ended up shutting down the whole website. And then I thought, okay, what to do next? So I went to YouTube and Udemy and started sharing my knowledge with people for absolutely free. Again, I didn't have a low ticket course, just it's free. Like, this is what I did. this is what the scenario is, this is how I got views and everything. And then one person from US like just contacts me, emails me, he's like, hey, can you do like ads for me for my e-commerce store? I'm like, e-commerce store? Or like what kind? He's like, Shopify drop shipping store I have. I'm like, yeah, totally, I can do it. It's like easy peasy for me. And I didn't even know what drop shipping is. Googling there, like, what exactly does that mean? And then he agreed to it. And I said, like, okay. And then he's like, how much do you charge?
Did you have experiences running a little bit of ads?
Yeah. So I grew like a page. It's called like it's a meme page basically on Facebook, which I grew to 50,000 likes. I used to run like campaigns, so I thought that's like
That was the
that
ad.
those are ads, bro. If I can get likes, I'll get like a lot of sales. But then ended up when I had those 50,000 likes, I launched my store where I used to sell like mugs and stuff. I thought I'd create into a meme website with like a lot of drop shipping kind of items being sold there. Not drop shipping, but like general T-shirts and stuff. But I made like I remember 50,000 likes I got. I thought now I'll launch my website. Made my first post on that Facebook page. Probably like got 3 likes and 1 click out of 50,000. I was like, whoa, this is like useless. All my
Scam.
yeah, that's a scam. So yeah, I took that information there. So yeah, this Vijay guy. Oh shit, I'm supposed to name. Anyway, so he's like, how much are you gonna charge? Thanks, Vijay, but if you're watching this. So he's like, how much are you gonna charge? So I said, $1,500, like a James Bond. He's like, because I didn't know what, so I just googled some random stuff, and I thought like he won't agree to it. Like, why would anyone do that? I'm just an 18-year-old kid from India, like to a wealthy businessman. He's like, all right, PayPal. And I was like, whoa. And then when I got the money, I was like,
जो ब्लॉगिंग किया था क्यों?
हाँ वो मैंने कहा इतना तो मैंने पूरे साल में नहीं कमाया होगा. So I was like very impressed with that thing. So then I started like working with like more and more agencies and more of these like e-commerce brands out there. I did that, and this is when I was like gaining hands-on experience. So when you were asking me like to answer your question, like how did I get this realization? I was doing a lot of that, but I was not enjoying it, and I wasn't passionate about the industry either because I just thought, hey, they're just taking cheap products from China and like selling it, right? So my clients used to get results, but they were not like, wow, massive, like this is something that is just gonna blow their mind. So I decided, I'm gonna pivot. That's when like my agency was doing really well. I was 20 years old, making $12,000 a month, but I was like happy with that back then. But then eventually I went into
That was
depression.
your own agency?
Yeah, it was like one man and some VAs. That's what an agency is. Like, so I was operating that. But then I kind of went into depression because I was like, I don't know what to do next, because what's the next step? Like, am I just going to be another agency? Is this what's like the end goal of this? I didn't see like like how I was discussing with you. If I don't have see like a vision or a purpose behind something, I'd like get
Yeah,
bored
kind of.
like really easily. So because I'm telling you, for everyone who's like googling how to make money online, like when you'll achieve that, then you'll be the money or whatever your dollars, you'll be like, now what do I do? Right? So that's what happened. I kind of went into like depression. So then I started figuring. So eventually, what I learned is I need to pick something that I love, something that I'll be passionate about. And number two, I need to put in enough time to be able to master that skill before I go out and start like doing a scaling of my agency as well. Quit everything, and then basically I decided to go get a job. I basically cold emailed this person in Australia. So
Interesting. Sorry to cut you off though. Because that's a fantastic way, bro. Like, if you really want to learn, that's a good advice. Go do a job, learn shit, then come back, build a business.
yeah, to even some extent, even you did that.
I did exactly that. Yeah.
It worked. If you wouldn't have gained these skills, if you wouldn't have done the DDIP program, if you wouldn't have done the job and the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So, and if you would have launched your course after doing
How to do
DDIP,
digital
just
marketing.
like how to do digital marketing course, that wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah.
And I think the people outside in the market are definitely getting smarter because
Yeah,
they are like,
people can smell bullshit.
yeah, they can smell it, and you can't just go out and this whole fake it till you make it. As soon as you fake it, your reputation is gone, and then you can't like rebuild it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about. So
I
when
mean,
I
he's
started,
not done yet.
oh yeah, you're like,
Oh yeah, just like making it shorter. So after I did that job, I gained experience working with that individual. He was a multi-million dollar high ticket coach, and I was his I was running his marketing. I was learning as well. Wouldn't say I was the best at it, but I was learning, and eventually that gave me the confidence to go about and build again my agency and then UABT again. Yeah.
so in my own journey when I got started, I was like a job and doing digital marketing. Then I started an agency, started doing services for the clients, and then I got into teaching. So when I started, I just launched a course because I had a community of people on my email list following me. I started blogging in 2013. So until 2016, I didn't have like any products to sell, and the blog was not generating any revenue. So I had an email list, and when I launched my first course, there was no sales page, no VSL, nothing. I just put the course outline and I put a payment link for people to pay so that they can get the course. And then I launched a few courses like that. And then I started doing sales pages, like proper copywriting on a landing page, like a long form sales page. And it would go for like 3,000 words. And then there was a call to action in the end. So I had a copywriter which I reach out to me, and his mail was, "Why are you selling low?" And that was his first mail. And then I became his client, and he was like, "Hey, you have the courses. I will create these landing pages for you. It will convert better." And we launched a course called the 100-day blogging course, which a lot of people know. And in the first launch, we made 4 lakh in revenue. Wow. And then same email list, nothing changed. He put in a landing page, 3 sales copies, 3 email sales copies, and 1 landing page copy. With the same list, we went up to 22 lakh in revenue with the same product. And then we increased the price even more. Then we started selling it on live webinars. And then we started putting video sales letters. So the way I'm looking at it is that when you increase the pricing of your products, it needs more convincing because there are more objections that need to be released or handled by the customer. So if it is like a 1 rupee chocolate, you don't have any objection. You might even buy it like, okay, change nahi hai, chocolate de do. So the way I'm looking at it is that as the price of anything increases, the sales message communication method changes.
I mean, of course, I mean, imagine 1 rupee versus selling a
1 lakh
1
rupee
lakh, 2
product.
lakh rupee
Yeah.
product. It is a life changing
Yes.
amount for some
Yes.
people. It does require some level of conviction.
And when you are selling high ticket, or let's say in this context, if somebody wants to get a client, and as you said, coaching, training, consulting, freelancing, whatever you call it, you are getting a client, there is a prospective client, you want to convert them, and you want to make them your customer, get them to pay. I think it would be better to start with a one-on-one call. And where do people start with? Like, what if they don't have any sales skill or formal sales training? They have not read any books about sales. They didn't attend a course on how to sell or anything. And they just want to convert the client. And a lot of people don't know. They just go, "Hey, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this for you." They don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to persuade in a good way. And we all know that in India, please sir is the only sales tactic that people have. Continuously following up, continuously calling you. So what would be your advice to people who are getting started? Okay, they are getting on a one-on-one call with someone, maybe on a phone call or on a Zoom call. How should they start? How should they present it? How should they reveal the price? How should they get the customer to pay the price? And sometimes immediately they won't pay. How should they follow up? So, little bit on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, see, the first thing about the call, I have like phases of this, but I'll just like give a quick overview so that you can like understand, and then we could dive deeper specifically into any phase if you desire. But overall, the one thing that I notice is that when you're starting out, a lot of people like don't build enough rapport, right? So the first thing you should do is, but then again, it needs to be like thin balance, right? So hey, how's it going? How's the week been, right? And that's like pretty much like what I like to do. Other than that, some people go deeper, like, oh, so chacha theek hai, and all that, that. And then some people are like, don't even do that. That's like basic human interaction that I think everyone should like know about, right? Once you're done that, the next stage that I would recommend is that you take authority, or you kind of like take the frame, right? So it's very important that when you're doing the call, right, the person is coming to you for some sort of advice or service that you are considered an authority in, right? So now if in the case the person starts going like, hey, you tell me the price, okay, so tell me, what do you do, right? What happens is you have
They take the
instantly.
control of the call, not you, hence they are in charge of the pricing as well.
Exactly. So then what happens is, then, a lot of people are like, how you were saying, please, sir, that ends up happening because you haven't taken the frame in the first place. So what I like to do is, hey, just to be clear, how this call is going to be like is I'm going to just ask you some questions just to make sure that I can understand your situation better. And then based on that, I could like advise you, what's the next step and everything. And if I think I cannot help you, I would be more than happy to recommend you to somebody else in my network who would be a right fit for the same, right? And then usually there's agreement in this, and the person understands that I'll be asking that person questions before I answer their other FAQs that they might have, right? So this is like basic thing, like just take the frame, understand, set expectations. So once you've built a rapport, once you've set the frame, the next thing that I like to do is do some discovery. Now this is very common sense, but common sense is not common. But for example, if you like go to a doctor, like this has been happening since like you were a kid, right? Where you go to a doctor, they're like, after they've done that, they don't need to necessarily like build a frame because they're a doctor, boards, right? And again, if your marketing is good, which we can get into later, like if you have a good personal brand, you might not even need to build the frame necessarily because you are the frame and they already know you, right? So the third thing is like do discovery, right? So the doctor simply asks you like, hey, kya dikkat hai? What's the problem, right? So similarly, you just ask the prospect, hey, what's the problem right now? What attracted you specifically to actually book this call with me today? And then the person would tell you about the whole thing. And then what most people do is like they're like, okay, now move next. So here's my pitch, right? So but the point is that this is where a lot of people mess up. Like they do not go deep. Okay, they usually go like wide. They're trying to like, for example, if somebody is selling like, let's say, marketing services, right? They would just like start asking like, oh, so what's your cost per lead? And then they would ask some random question like, what's your SEO ranking or whatever, right? So it
I
won't
mean,
make
then
any.
again, I think the intention matters a lot. Because if you are going there to sell, I mean, your job is to sell, but if you just want to sell, then you will not sell because your job is actually to understand whether you are the right fit or not.
Yeah, and you
That's the
can't
first
do
job.
that if you would like, not ask the relevant questions and try to understand them on a deeper level. So the analogy that I like to use is, imagine like you're in a cricket field, right? There's like a wicket in front of you. A lot of people would, throw white balls again and again, again and again. You just have to aim for the wicket, try to understand what's the problem, right? And then, why specifically is that a problem, right? Um, and what have you tried to do in order to go about fixing this particular
How long
problem?
has it been
How
going?
long has it been that you've been suffering from this problem? It's just basic questions just to understand some context, and then you could go deeper into, okay, tell me more about this, right? Like how the doctors like, when you're sitting in the clinic, if I touch here, does it hurt? If I touch here, does it hurt? And they're like, oh yeah, it pains over here. Or tell me more about that. So it's basically what you're doing for any kind of field, whether you're a marketer or whatever, coach, consultant. You could ask about, okay, what, tell me deeper about that particular issue. And then the next thing is you need to know, in the discovery phase itself, like what have you tried to do in order to go about solving that particular problem. Because one thing that a lot most people are stuck is because they know that they have a problem, or most people are actually not even aware that they have a problem. But even if they know, they don't go about fixing it or not take any kind of action. But some people do, but they have had some sort of bad experience. So it's important that as a salesperson, you know, if you're let's say you're selling a phone or you're selling an air purifier, right? Have you tried any other air purifier in the past?
What
Have you
did and
tried any
didn't
other
work?
phone? What about it didn't work, right? Because then you'll have like some past pains associated to it. Then you can like make sure that you can handle by making sure that your product is superior, right? So knowing that is very, very important. And then in the discovery phase, we also like to know something called as the consequence of not being able to solve that particular issue. So this means that, hey, if you continue to operate with this, or if you continue to not take any action on this, or you continue with this particular problem, what should be the consequence in the next 6 months, 12 months, to your business, to your life, to your health, relationships, or whatever. So this is like kind of a, whole gist of like the discovery part. And then in the discovery part, the main thing that you need to know is that they have a problem and they are stuck in a particular place. Right now, if it's health, you're doing like weight loss coaching, you know that, okay, they are stuck at this weight, like let's say 130 kgs or whatever. You have a metric it's associated to it. If they are like, let's say, a relationship, right, you have like, these are the number of times I've, fight with my partner, or these are the number of times we have disagreements, right? Or if you are doing money, like this is the current revenue of my company right now, right? So you need to know that, and you need to know that there has a problem associated because of which they are stuck at that particular level.
Plus, I would see the problem in two ways. The I love Franklin for this analogy where he says like the problems can be an escape or an arrival. Escape is like, hey, I'm obese, I want to lose weight. Arrival is I'm fit, I want to get a six pack. Right? Either of the cases, what you mentioned is correct. Person is stuck.
Yeah,
They
they
want
are
to
stuck.
get out or go up. We just need to uncover that thing.
Yeah, like it's like, the analogy that I like to use is, imagine you're stuck in an island, right, where there's no food, shelter, water, proper, and there's no social life or whatever, and you're surrounded in this situation, and you want to go to a destination which is island number two. So if you don't paint the picture of that island, right, if you don't make that person realize that, hey, how long has it been since you had like a social life, how long has it been since you had that, decent meal, right? So then, and until that's not happening, you are doing sales incorrectly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, just to summarize, like, it was like rapport building, then you take the flame, then you do discovery, you know that situation, the island that they are currently stuck in. And the next thing is you need to know about where exactly do they want to head, like what's their goal, right? That's very, very important. So we need to know, okay, so if you're at this weight right now, if you're not satisfied with your marriage at this level right now, if you're not making the income right now, what's your goal, right? And then ultimately people just move on very quickly because they're like, oh, this is your goal, okay, let's just move on, right? But then most people do not understand the deeper vision behind like why they have set this particular goal for themselves. What would they do for their personal life, what would it do for their business, what would it do for other areas of their life, and what's the non-monetary motivation, or non for example, even for health, right? Like a lot of people are like, but they just want to lose weight. No, why do they want to lose weight? Because they're feeling underconfident in themselves, because they're not able to socialize, because every time they go out with their family they feel like, oh, I'm inferior in some way, right?
So it's not just about the problems, but the impact of the problems.
Exactly. That's very, very critical. That and until you do not know the deeper motivation of that person, how can you make them do anything? Or how can you? And actually, you know what? I would like to strike that in sales, you do not make anybody do anything. Like it's not persuasion. It's not 1990s where you're a car salesman, doing like all that stuff. It's like helping that person be educated enough about their own situation so that they could make a
That's
decision for
that's
themselves.
beautiful because what I have observed by closing for him also, DD also, is that even us, we were at that situation at one point. Many people do not introspect. Like for example, that meme you see, right? My house is on fire, but I'm fine, right? Like I'll put a picture there. So many people think that, oh hey, oh, it's just a little bit warm, like what Sam said. So, and what we do is like let them know, bro, you're gonna die. Just look around yourself, and they don't look. And while looking around themselves, they come back to you saying that, oh God, I need help, take me out of here. And then you take them out, show them the path.
Absolutely. So once you know their main motivation, the next thing you need to do is like try to understand if they are committed enough or not, right? Because a lot of people will be like, yeah, yeah, I want that goal, but hey, how badly do you want it? And this is the part that I like to do personally, because I want them to sell them on themselves. Like, hey, so you're saying like, this is the goal and this is where you're currently at, but you have not been able to achieve this goal because, and it's been this much time. Why do you think now is the right time that you'll be able to do it? What are you willing to take, or what are you willing to do in terms of actions that will make sure that you this time you achieve this goal, right? So very, very critical, right, that you need to know that. Once you've done that, then comes the pitch, and for the pitch as well, it's very, very critical. You just don't go out and just like start going in like feature one, feature two, SEO, and then it just becomes like really bad. So essentially what we do is, in our pitch we have like three pillars basically divided. Three pillars could be like the top three concepts, or if you're selling a course, if you're selling an agency, what are the three core features of your agency, right? Now, just to give you a fitness example that Hormozy has shared, right? For him, it would be like, let's say, workout, nutrition, and accountability, right? For us, it could be, high ticket pricing, it could be sales, it could be marketing, right? These are our main things that we need to do. Now, when you're explaining each one of these pillars, rather than saying that, okay, this is what's going to be the feature,
This
you
is how
try
it's
to,
going to help you.
yeah, you explain like, okay, this is your situation. Remember when you told me कि तुमको यहाँ पे दर्द हो रहा था, right? Now I'm going to help you do this so that this pain is removed, and here's an example of how this is going to work out, right? And it's very important that you have these examples that even a 3-year-old child can understand. If anybody watching this video, I'm sure you must have heard of Russell Brunson and read any kind of his books. You might see like, oh, a grown man making doodles in his books, and then oh, this is like such a basic concept, but that is what people understand, right? Like, this is brilliant marketing.
Simplification is the hardest job. You can't like make
Exactly.
anything complicated.
And if your pitch is like really, really complex, it's like filled with Jenga Menga words and like tools, systems, click funnels, then it won't, like, in my opinion, be effective.
Let's talk about product a little bit, because
And before we get into product, I wanted to like add on the example of a doctor, and you said that taking that frame is very important, and I believe that if you are empathetic enough, and if you are not focused on trying to sell, and not focused on you, and you are focused on your customer, and genuinely interested in helping them get the end result, I think the frame kind of sets in automatically, because the doctor is not sitting there thinking that, "Hare, I hope this patient pays me." The doctor is like genuinely like worried, and he is caring for you. He is empathetic, and when you can smell that, then automatically you surrender. Okay, this guy is gonna help me. Let me be like, just tell me what my problems are without hesitating. And that happens only when the doctor does not have a pressure to sell, and he doesn't. So he automatically takes that authority. And a lot of people think authority is that, hey, I've done a TEDx talk, I've written a book, and that is authority. But anyone who is going to help you, and if he is genuinely going to help you, then that is going to be the authority that you have. And in the very process of diagnosing the problems, you automatically take the authority. The doctor might not have the solution, but if the doctor is diagnosing your problem exactly, then you automatically assume that he has the solution.
Because the trust is there, right? And trust, in today's society, like, unfortunately, the one of the primary ways of getting trust is certifications, right?
yeah.
I'm not very much in favor of, but whatever, this is like, it does make sense. Like, for example, I won't get, like, if I had an accident, I won't get a surgery from somebody who doesn't have any certification, right? Who hasn't done any of this before. So in certain fields, of course, it does apply, and there's a necessity, but that certification does give that person the authority. In our coaching space, I think things that do give you authority are your social proof, your personal branding, your client results, and all these things.
That is exactly where.
The projects that you have done.
Yeah, and exactly, it's the proof of concept.
That is what, right? Like, you have to be client obsessed, so that these clients' results brings in more people in.
Yeah, and I think, as you were saying, like, people are becoming smart, right? So they can smell it. Like, for example, like, when you did a call with us, if like, you have been in the industry for like decade, right? More than that, I think. So if like, imagine somebody, Deepak, going on a call and somebody starts saying like, say, do this, like something, and it doesn't make sense to you. You'd be like, you shun that person off. So that comes through working, and then of course working, getting results, which builds conviction, which allows you to have that confidence too.
And that's very true when you talk about that people can smell that. And as the market keeps getting sophisticated, and if you have to really increase your price, then only sophisticated people will buy your product. And I feel that people will get tired of like being, let's say, quote unquote fooled, not in the exact sense, but people, when they just enter the market, they are like a little bit gullible, right? And there are people in the market who would take advantage of that, and I was also taken advantage of when I started. Like I opened like the internet, like make money online, and there is this guy, I'm the rich jerk, like learn from me. And it was literally called Rich Jerk, richjerk.com. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like look it up. Like yeah, it was like a little bit before you guys started using internet, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And he would be like, "Hey, I am rich, you are poor, so you should learn from me." And he would have like a picture of his
That's like a
Lamborghini.
Nigerian prince
Yeah.
thing, man. The thing we were watching.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah, so that way, when people like learn sales techniques and they just put themselves out there, and this whole fake it till you make it culture, it can convert gullible people easily. They can even like charge high for it, but they might not get results. Then there is a long term cost to it in terms of the reputation getting damaged.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, would you really like to work with sophisticated people or gullible people?
Yes.
Might as well do a good job only.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where my question came in. So when we say product, it's basically the vehicle that takes them through steps. So what you say, island 1, island 2, we call it current state, desired state, and the steps, we call it in terms of steps. So you develop the product which correlates with each step, right? So do you really define what each step will bring to this customer, and how do you do that?
See, I think the best thing, if you're starting out, you need to. This is why proof of concept is important, right? You need to kind of like sit down and like really think about, hey, how did I do this, right? And you really need to. Sometimes, I was just when I was making my program, I was thinking, man, this thing they will know, like that like everyone knows, right? Like slightest thing, like how to set up Zoom, right? And I assumed that, and my assumption was wrong because sometimes we just take things for granted, like things that we know, other people might not have, idea regarding that, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that they haven't been. So, for example, if you ask me one of your PhD questions, that'd be like, shit, bro. So yeah, it's not nobody's fault. So that's why how I was saying, customers' expectations will keep on rising every single day. Like when Amazon started, like, oh, you can get the product in a week, and then it became 3 days, and then a day, and now people are like, I want it now, just give it now. It should be there. So, this will keep happening. So the best way to do that is to map out your own journey on a piece of paper, or just write down, okay, this is exactly what I did. And the more granular you get, right, the better it would turn out. And once you have done that, once you have done your own journey, the next phase that I did after I had mapped out, that was for my version 1.0. For the next version, this time I took all of my successful clients and I looked at, okay, so I have, let's say, 1,000 clients, right, that time. um, I think around that. So I basically looked at, okay, so these are a group of individuals who succeeded, and these are a group of individuals that did not succeed. So what were the attributes or qualities that the people that were successful had? What were the actions that they took, right? And like, I mean, that's why I'm saying it's not easy, because I did like one-on-one calls with all of those people. I did listen to all the Q&A calls that they have done, transcribed it, and then tried to understand, okay, these are the questions that are being repeated the most, right? And then I took note of that, and then eventually it allowed me to map out another product, which was version number 2.0 of it, which was based on their experience.
But this is exactly how we build agency SOPs, right? What have we done to get this one client results? Okay, it slightly varies from this client's results, slightly varies from this client's results. Club it all together, okay, we can serve a lot of people, right? That's how exactly it works. And to some extent with DDIP also, we did the same thing. Like DD started with a blog in the first lesson, okay, start a blog, do this, and people started getting results. Then by doing. That's how people started getting results. Awesome.
Cool. So now we have spoken enough about business, sales, marketing, high ticket, and everything. So I would like to ask you some, personal life questions. So how do you like? Let's say when you do this, you put yourself out there, you run ads, knowingly or unknowingly, whether you want it or not, you end up building a personal brand, because end of the day, a training and coaching business to some extent revolves around a person who is training or coaching. And in the very process, you will end up having some people who will disagree with you, who won't like you, and kind of like hate you a little bit. And a lot of people hesitate putting themselves out there, being afraid of that backlash. Yes, it might be, there could be 100 positive comments, but if one person comments negative, it kind of really like hurts you. So how do you handle that? And when it started happening for the first time, what was your feelings around it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could like tell you what those motivational videos say that hey, be strong, move on, you're rock. But when it actually happens to you, it's not very nice. So, for example, like when I started out, like I started out my journey, then I was also looking for mentors, and like one of the mentors that I learned from, our mutual mentor is Sam Ovens, right? So I was in his community, and it was growing really good, and like this one person uh, on Facebook messages me who also joined my free community that, hey, oh, you're part of like Sam Owen's course. I'm like, yeah, I'm part of his course. How you do? And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that back then, no, it was 2018. Not, I don't think any Indian was part of.
Someone has had a Facebook group that.
Yeah, yeah, it was. He had a Facebook group then, and I don't think nobody in India
At
was
least
there.
not in the mastermind.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we joined in 2020.
yeah, I mean, at least nobody I found. So since that person messaged me, I was like very, very excited that hey, it's really cool. But the problem is his profile picture was a tiger's image. So yeah, so something was shady. I don't know. But then I kind of like said to that person, hey, I searched for you in the group. I can't find you. And he's like, oh no, I'm here. Look at the screenshots of the whole thing. Like, all right, cool. I think you're lying, but let's just like disconnect. So that person took screenshots of that conversation, created a whole article of it, like Rohan Dhawan's a copy of Sam Owens, and put his affiliate links over there of Consulting Accelerator, Sam's program. And I'm like talking to Sam, and I'm like, Sam, like, what's he? All right, he's like, bro, I'm gonna stop selling the product anyway, so it doesn't matter. So anyway, so yeah, some people try to get their fame by defaming other people, and I don't think a wise that's a wise person's strategy, right? I mean, till date, as we were discussing, there are little kids.
Even customers sense that. I mean, who would want to work with a bitch?
Yeah, like even today, like some people would come, oh, you are pretty, like, they're trying to diss me rather than like showing their competency, right? And I don't have anything to prove to anyone because, the results speak. But, so yeah, back to that case. So that happened. So I went in, like, after seeing that article, I was like, oh, my career is over. I had like 40 clients of ULBD then, right? I thought, oh, now I think nobody will buy from me. There's an article about me. So, like, the first time that happens to you, it really holds you back. So, I thought about it a lot, but then eventually I just decided, hey, if I just keep focusing, rather than focusing on people who have not part of my program, and focusing on just on my customers and thinking about only their opinion and their results, that's the only thing that matters. If my customer would be disappointed, I would give a lot of, you know, uh, yeah. So I would care and I would like,
If a customer, if a person who is not a customer is getting disappointed, he has not
I can't
paid
control
you
people.
enough to worry about it.
But it does pain you because it's the first time, like, and yeah, and also, like, as I mentioned, I was kind of like bullied in school as well a little bit. So this kind of like hit me in the mind, like, oh shit, this has started to happen online as well, and now there'll be videos of whatnot. But then I think, like, I learned it. I don't forgot where I saw, probably some YouTube video, like, if you want to succeed in something and you are not going to expect hate, then you're just having the wrong expectations, because the more people who will love you, there will be more people who will hate you, and it's going to be like a love and hate game. And if you don't have enough haters, you're not basically growing, right?
Plus, Alex also said, right, this thing. The hate always comes from beneath you, never from above you. Nobody above you will ever hate you for what you are.
Yeah, and the
That's
other
all.
thing that I sometimes
That's
see.
so deep, man.
I mean, come on. Okay, for example, let's say we see some kids doing the same thing. Do you really hate them? We say like, oh, you never
Trying
does
out,
that.
it's fine, they are trying to find their own
Yeah,
path.
yeah. If somebody is hating you by default, they are putting themselves in a lower status than you.
Yeah, it's a very negative kind of mindset to operate with if you're
And
trying.
it's a scarcity mindset that, if you pull others down, then you automatically go up. So there is this story which I keep hearing, and then I keep telling that there was a Scorpion seller, and he had Scorpion from different countries, and all the Scorpion boxes were like closed, and there was one Scorpion basket which was like open, and there was like a customer passing by, and he was like, "Why is this basket open? Don't you think like they will just like run away?" And he was like, "No, no, they are scorpions from India. If one tries to get over the basket, they
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So I think with a country of 1 billion people in a small space, maybe it's difficult to get out of it, because even like I naturally react to it, thinking that by like pulling someone down and hurting them, you are like going up, but you are not.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I won't say we don't diss our competitors, but see,
But then again, like, see, if you want to get the deal, make a better offer.
see, the thing is, irrespective of like memes and stuff, if you even like ask anyone, listen to our sales calls, right? Somebody would be like, "Hey, I took XYZ person's program and it didn't work out." It's literally in our sales script to first identify, "Hey, was it actually their fault, or did you really not put in the work?" Because it's very easy to say like, "Oh, that person is bad," and honestly, I respect a lot of my, not everyone, but like some of my competitors as well, because they are doing, if somebody is like really bad, inauthentic, or if their product is not really working, they can't scale, and they can't make the money that they are making, right? So huge respect to them. But then I think like by commenting paragraphs on somebody's Facebook ad because you are sitting idle and you don't have a life is not the best way to actually succeed and do something valuable for yourself.
Plus, I agree with this mindset, scarcity mindset, right? What I truly believe is like when that shift happens from that scarcity to abundance, competition becomes collaboration.
Yeah. And it should be healthy and it should be funny. You shouldn't be like, oh, they're bad, or they're like, being like that little kid. So it's like, it's it's in my opinion, just keep playing the game, and enjoy the process. As you said, like chapter one of that book, like have an enemy, right? That's good to have, but don't make that your obsession. That you have to. That's your marketing strategy, right? Like that you should.
I mean, enemy doesn't always need to be a person. Like, for example, when I was working at Razorpay, who is their enemy? Who is their competitor? Not the other payment gateways, but their enemy was cash. So you could define the enemy, need not
Our enemy is
necessarily.
procrastination because people are not
Even
doing work.
Netflix said that, like somebody was like, oh, I don't have, like, some people come to me and they're like, Rohan, I don't have any competitors, right? And then I once heard Netflix CEO say that, like, our number one competitor is sleep. Because if people sleep, they are not watching Netflix.
Our number one competitor is procrastination. People are not doing the work. We
Yeah.
are helping making them do work.
Accountability is the product.
Accountability is the product. Yeah.
Distraction, it's this. So,
It's commenting on
So,
Facebook ads.
so we are towards the end of the podcast, and now let's go for like a rapid fire round. So just answer without like thinking too much. Short answers we will go for. So when you see somebody succeed and they have what you want to have, and when you have a feeling of jealousy, how do you handle it and how do you overcome it?
I motivate myself. It motivates me. Like I wake up the next day, I have like, okay, this is what they did. If I like keep working hard and go in this direction and kind of model what they're doing, I'm gonna get there too. I'm probably better than them.
If you can have only one mentor for the rest of your life and you are banned from learning from anyone else, who would it be?
It's like a tough question. This might not come out to be the answer that you're looking for. Probably like my parents, because like I learn a lot from them. Like you can discuss theoretical and business concepts with a lot of these people, but like the people that know me the best are them, so they know like, oh, you're about to f up, so stop. Like even like how your fiance was like, before this podcast goes live, she needs to review it. They are our best mentors, man.
Yes, yes. Okay, so do you think being single gives you an unfair advantage in being cooperative in business?
Yes, it does, because, and I've deliberately chosen that because yeah, it just allows you to focus, and I don't want to set the wrong kind of expectations to anyone else.
If you desire something which is beyond your affordability level, would you like somehow get it even by going into debt, or will you wait for it? And if you are waiting for it, what are you telling yourself?
I'd work hard for it. I wouldn't get depth. For example, desire. Desire comes out to be what? Things like mainly materialistic things that most human beings desire. So I think there's this quote by Jay-Z, if you can't buy it twice, don't even think about it, right? Yeah. So that's what the philosophy that I like to follow. And yeah, like main thing I try to do is like try to just anyway distance myself from materialistic things, but there's still things that do give me joy that I don't mind like spending upon. And then if I don't have the funds to afford that right now, the biggest thing is just keep working hard and just get it.
But continuing that question, now that you have aspired to be at this level of abundance for a long time, I'm like, 10 crores plus per year business and a little bit of freedom to buy the materialistic things that you want and everything. So now that you have achieved it and you have been wanting this for so long, what's next once you achieve it?
Yeah, so that's what I mentioned to everybody who's like starting out. Initially the goal is like, hey, let's make money online, but and then when you actually do that, then you're like, okay, what's the next step? So I'm gonna be quite honest. I don't want to be like one of those like business gurus who's like, oh, I have achieved it, because I really think I've not done anything, or not anything, but like I'm proud but not satisfied. I think that's like the best way to put it. So the motivation or the next thing is just to like wake up and keep playing the game, right? Like how we were discussing the other day, right? You could have like a end goal, but then um, what's a better approach is that if you just like wake up every single day and just repeat the actions that even get you like 1 to 2% closer to your goals. And it's easier said than done, because like every day, like especially when you're running a startup, like good luck to all founders. Like every day there's like fire and you're like trying to like stop it, right? But at the end of the day, if you are enjoying it and it's getting you somehow closer towards like um what you want, and then it provides you joy or some sort of fulfillment. For example, if given a choice, would I go sit at a 9 to 5 desk and like do that, or like I'd just like talk or help other people out, I'd do, or I'd pick this anyway. And more importantly for me, if you look at the pattern, there was like no doubt it was like this is what I was meant to do. Like back from like a kid, I started the YouTube channel, the whole thing, it was moving in this direction. And I have no doubt in my mind that I'd like make it very big. Like it sounds like
Yeah.
very bad, but like
No, no, no. That confidence you have to have. Yeah.
Yeah, so, all right. So, we have seen phases, right? Like, even if you are at 10 crores, it feels like, अरे कल दुनिया खत्म हो जाएगी, then that anxiety always is there, no matter what kind of business you do. And you have been there as well, rock bottom, invested in ads, started business again. Do you still have that anxiety? Fuck, if it goes down, then क्या हो जाएगा फिर? And how do you handle it?
it's slowly the anxiety is reducing. But one good hack that I could give, which I got from Nitin Kamath from Zerodha only while watching one of his interviews. I think he got it from Jeff Bezos. I don't know. But point is, he's like, when you're doing something, when you're picking a project or any task in life, right? Just think about, okay, what's the worst that could happen? Right? Like, oh, this fails, this, that. And then, can be okay with the worst situation? And if you can't be okay, just don't do it in
Don't
the
do
first
it, yeah.
place. Right?
Because
And
that's gonna happen probably.
there's a 100% not 100%, but there's a probability. Like how when Jeff Bezos borrowed money from his parents, like 100 200 grand, he told them very upfront, like, hey, this could go down the gutter or this could work, who knows, right? So but having that awareness that I'm okay if this doesn't work out is what, if you remind yourself and you just like are fine with that situation, then you make that decision. If you're not, just like don't do it in the first place, or maybe work on your risk appetite first.
Plus, I mean, if you really love that niche, you'll figure out a way to work because it won't die until you keep working on it, right? That's what we
Yeah.
keep talking about.
Your startup never shuts down until like you
Founders.
stop working.
Yeah.
Exactly, like what Hormozy says, right? Infinity game. Like,
Infinity game, yeah. I
keep
love that.
playing it, and the game will only end when you decide the game has ended.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Great podcast.
Yes, thanks for doing this, Rohan. Glad to have you in Bangalore and glad to have had this conversation. and we have learned a lot from you, and you keep inspiring us. So, and we joined Uability around April of this year, and since then we have completely changed our game in terms of sales, conversion. Giant has learned a lot.
I think
So
I mean, I'll be very honest. Don't take it. I have not watched all the things, but the only thing that I joined Uability for, and like I kind of pushed him, like isko karte hain, is around December. I think we hit a sales rut. I didn't have any training. I was just reading book and pitching. Then I was like, okay, let's check this guys out. And I went to Pratham's call and I just kept bullshitting him. But you know what? I did it with every single salesperson, sales team to see like whether they're actually pitching or not. Pratham was the only guy who said, "Bro, I'm not going to pitch you because you don't fit." I was like, "I'm impressed. Great. I want this now." Then we joined later, so that's what happened. And yeah, it did help us in sales because that's what our bottleneck was.
and irrespective of like you benefiting from your own business, a person like you who has had exposure to studying outside in other countries and probably had other opportunities, like most of the brain drain happens, you decided to come back to India, you decided to do this, and looking at you that you are able to do this, it kind of increases that threshold level of market opportunity, plus it also expands the entire market size itself. So great, man. So
Yeah,
keep
one
doing
thing
what you
I'd
are
like to
doing.
add to that, like sometimes people are like, oh, why are you paying so much money for this program? Or why are you getting this mentor? And I'm sure we have invested a lot in masterminds and stuff. So it's not about there's this one piece of course content that was like, oh my God, like it's magical, right? That will change my life. See, it depends for the journey of the person. For some people who's like, let's say starting out, it'll be like, oh, this is the whole thing, I'll need to go through it and then eventually experience, and then they might fail, they might take another course, and then eventually it might work out and they'll give all the credibility to that course, it is why I'm successful, and then start dissing the other courses that they took, right? And then for other people, right, what happens is you don't necessarily need to consume the whole thing. Maybe there are certain beliefs that are holding you back, like for example how it was holding you back. It's not like learning something like radically different, but it's like, oh, this can work and this is how it's done, right? And if I apply this can work
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
Just one small insight
Yeah, I
is enough.
mean, dude, like people who play Olympics, it's not like they're not good at their games. They still have coaches.
Yeah,
That's always
See,
there.
in 2020, first time I had like some significant amount saved up, and I spent it on Sam Owens Mastermind. I spent 25 lakhs, and I almost went back to zero. In that 25 lakhs, people ask me, what did you gain? I paid 25 lakhs. I was part of his mastermind. And the only things that Sam Owens does is that he has a community, he has a weekly mastermind call, and it was of value to me. And I was like, who? If the weekly mastermind call can be of this much value to me, I'm pretty sure that I can sell a mastermind for 1 lakh or 2 lakh. And then that single change in mindset is the cost of that entire program. And it's worth it for me. And
absolutely.
to
And
give
I mean,
a
I've seen this anytime we have invested in any coaches, it just comes back multiple fold. Sam Owens ho gaya, or let's say sales training with Pratham and Ubility, just comes back somehow.
Everything, man, and even these small interactions that we do, like conversations, they, as long as you are surrounded with the right people.
yeah, you are the average of 5 people around
Five
you.
people around you, right?
I'm really curious. One thing I would like to know, like since you had gone through this course in Sam Owens as well, like why did you decide like, okay, like I should like go forward with UAbility as well?
Because first of all, with Sam Owens, I was not able to attend the offline events. And the second problem with that was that, yes, he can do it because foreign banda hai. He has an accent. So that way, I really wanted to kind of study you in a close, closely in close proximity. That how do you think? And like for example, opportunities like us hanging out together a lot couldn't have happened if we did not join the mastermind, and that is one thing. And there is this story I heard. There was a big ship, like very big cruise ship, and it was not working. And people had like tried everything. The captain, the XO of the captain, everybody tried to fix it. They couldn't fix it for like weeks, And then finally they decided to hire like an expert consultant who charged like $10,000 to like, come and fix it, or probably 100,000, whatever the number might be. And he came in, right, like, went right into the engine room and just tightened one screw and the ship started working. And then he like, sent them the, very big invoice, and they were like, bro, you just like tightened one screw. Why are you like, charging us so much? It's not about tightening the one screw. It's about knowing which screw to tighten. So I think that's where the value in masterminds is. And the second most important thing is that you are kind of forced to learn and take action and get results because you coughed up so much of money.
Yeah, no, I would like to add this. I mean, I heard it from Mr. Beast, is what he says. Like, at any given point of time, there is no, over the god level business coach out there. You can't always find that coach. And joining your ability, at least for me, it was not just the sales coaching. It was more like, okay, cool, I'll do 100 mistakes in my business and I'll learn from them. 10 more people will do 100 more mistakes, so that's 1,000 more business that I can learn from. 1,000x growth.
Exactly.
That's
It's
why
basically
mastermind.
what Mr. Beast also did, like form the
That's what, right?
mastermind.
Yeah.
This concept I learned from
And
Mr. Vishnu.
even before masterminds existed, like we created our own mastermind. We started like discussing with a bunch of known people in the industry, and that helped us a lot. And sometimes those things fall in place, but for a lot of people, it doesn't always fall in place. That sometimes mastermind coming together and the mastermind becoming close knit, is like element of luck also. But if you actually go ahead and sign up for a mastermind, be part of it, because apart from learning from you and observing what you are doing, like learning from Romit, learning from Karthik, learning from Viral, all this is like priceless. And we paid like a certain amount of fee to like get into such community, and the community itself creates value. And I have seen that if I have created like a free Facebook group, then the quality of conversations in that is very less. Then I have like one group for all the people who joined the internship. It's better. The quality of conversations in our own mastermind Alpha Club is even better. So that way, and you should also be part of other masterminds so that you could like absorb that information. So yeah, I think the future is masterminds. So cheers to masterminds.
Awesome, bro. Great work. Great interview.
Yes, thank you, Rohan.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you,
See you
John.
at Delhi.
See you soon.